Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video of me talking about books. I will confess, the past few months have been chaotic and a lot has been going on. I've had so much stuff to do over the past few weeks, past couple weeks. I'm kind of overwhelmed, even though it's like really not that much when you think about it. And also, I've been in a major reading slump. I honestly can't make myself get through a single book that I get from the library. I'll get like halfway through and then immediately lose interest. Like I just won't want to finish it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what it is, but I've been in it forever. I only finished like one out of maybe 7 books I attempt to start. But recently, I went through 3 whole books, read them to the absolute last page, and I was so happy and proud of myself. And so I wanted to come on here and tell you guys about these 3 books. Okay, I'm going to start with my favorite of the trio. We have You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. This came out in 2020, I believe. This is probably one of my favorite contemporary romances that I've read thus far, okay? Every single time I read it, and I've read it 3 times now, it's like the first time reading it, I get a good giggle out of it. It makes me so happy. I can't put the book down. And I recommend this to like literally everybody I know. I'm like, you must read You Deserve Each Other because I think it's so fun. It's so fun. It's the pinnacle of like a rom-com. And I know I told one of my friends to read it. She read it and she was like, it was okay. And I was like, what? Excuse me? What do you mean it was just okay? This is like the best romance ever. I mean, it's not the best romance ever, but it's so funny. This is the most fun romance ever, in my personal opinion. So before I tell you what it's about, you must read You Deserve Each Other. I have to get my own copy of this because I keep having to borrow the copy from the library. Love the library, but I do want my own copy of this. But anyway, so this book follows Naomi and her fiance. What is this fucking Nicholas? Naomi and her fiance Nicholas. Nicholas is a dentist. They live in a small town in I don't even know what state in America, but probably somewhere in the Midwest. It's a good guess as any, okay? Anyway, they're engaged to be married. They've known each other for like months, a year and 6 months, almost 2 years, and basically they've fallen out of love with each other. And Naomi finds him insufferable. She's literally like dissociating in the entire relationship, and she's like, I have to get out of this marriage somehow. Like, I can't marry this man. I can't keep doing this. Like, I can't go the rest of my life marrying a man that like I don't love. But she's like, how am I going to get out of this engagement? Because Nicholas's mom is the epitome of a boy mom. And Naomi just knows that if she dumps Nicholas, his mom is gonna come back to her and find a way to charge her for every single wedding expense that this woman has paid for. And so she's like, how am I going to get out of this marriage? And then she quickly catches on that Nicholas has been trying to sabotage their engagement the whole time because he's been equally unhappy as she has been. And she hasn't been hiding the fact that she's unhappy in their engagement as well as she thought she has. And she realizes that she's being insufferable to her on purpose to push her to breaking off the engagement. And so this sets off a series of events where they basically try to push each other to the very, very limit to see who will break first and call off the engagement. And it's a happily ever after. So spoilers, they end up falling back in love with each other. But it's so cute. It is so hilarious. This is one of those rare books, for me at least, where I actually like laugh out loud. Like I'm actually laughing out loud. It's not just like, I'm giggling. I'm giggling. I gotta put the book down because I'm like, oh my god, like this is so funny. And I keep in mind that I've read this 3 times now, and I have the same reaction every single time. Every single time. I love this book. I love this book so much. I think it was one of the first books that I read when I was getting into the romance genre because I started off with historical romance, and I think this was probably one of my first forays into like contemporary, and I love it so much. I love it now, 4 years later, and I will love it in the future, okay? 4th read-through coming in, I don't know, sometime later this year, maybe next year. Like, I love this book. Okay, the next one that I read was the new Elsie Silver book called Wild Love. And I just want to take a moment and comment on the fact that Canadian romance authors are really putting Canadian arts and culture on the map. I'm not in the Canadian arts and culture scene. I don't know what the creatives are doing going on there. But what I do know as a consumer is that Canadian romance authors are putting Canadian arts and culture on the map. They are single-handedly propping up the industry. I don't think I've ever seen as many like Canadian authors become mainstream or popular with people on the internet as I have in like the past couple of years. I think Elle Kennedy is also Canadian. Elsie Silver is Canadian. Who else is I know there's like a few more that I just can't name off the top of my head, but like I'll look in the back to read the author bio and it'll be like, oh, she lives in Toronto with her husband and cats. Oh my God, Carly Fortune. Carly Fortune is another Canadian author. I haven't read her books. I think I read half of the second one with the pink cover, and then I don't know why I stopped reading that one. But that being said, I feel very like lukewarm about this book. I don't know what it was, but like Ford and Rosie, I just feel did not have any chemistry with each other. I wasn't really invested in their relationship. I wasn't really buying into it. I was just kind of like going along with it because it's the plot of the book. So like I felt like I kind of had to go along with it, but I didn't really believe in their relationship. I didn't feel the tension. I didn't feel the heat. I didn't feel the chemistry, which is very odd because Elsie Silver is capable of writing characters with chemistry and tension like Cade and Theo. Like I love those. I don't even remember what the hell they were called. You know what books they're in. You know what I'm talking about. I remember I love those books. They were really good, but this one was just very lukewarm. I do think she's like gotten better at pacing because I felt like the story was moving along at a good pace. Like everything that happened, I thought contributed something to the relationship or moving the storyline forward, etc. But I felt very lukewarm about this book at the end of the day. Am I going to read it again? Probably not. I'm glad I borrowed this from the library because I was gonna buy this, like buy my own copy of this and then just like donate it if I ended up not liking it. But I've saved myself like probably $26 by borrowing it from the library, so I'm glad I did that first. I will be reading the second book in the series when it comes out, just because like, I mean, Elsie Silver is pretty hit or miss with me, but knowing that I've enjoyed some of her books and I haven't like completely hated all of them, I think is enough for me to like pick up the next one. But anyway, going off of the back of You Deserve Each Other, I was able to actually finish this book, even though I felt lukewarm about it. So do with that what you will. Oh, I didn't even tell you what it was about. Okay, so basically what ends up happening is Ford is a billionaire. He built like some sort of music streaming app. What else? I don't know. There was also something else, but anyway, he moves to small town Rose Hills in like Alberta. Is it BC? I don't even know where it's situated. There's a map in here. Give me 1 second. Okay, Rose Hill is in BC, but like right at the border with Alberta. So it might as well be at Invermere, honestly. So he moves to Rose Hill because he hates the paparazzi and he hates the attention that being a billionaire brings and all the fakeness and what have you. And then Rosie moves back to Rose Hill because she gets fired from her corporate job because her boss sexually harasses her, assaults her, gropes her, whatever, what you want to call it. And she threatens to report him to HR, and then come Monday morning, he gets to HR before she does, and they fire her for poor performance that they never bothered addressing with her before. So she moves back to Rose Hill. She doesn't really like her boyfriend. She doesn't feel any type of way about him. And she's basically trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. So she ends up working for Ford as his business manager because he's setting up like a music studio. And he finds out, oh, I mean, this is not a spoiler. You can just read it in the back. But as it turns out, he was a sperm donor back in his like university days. And the kid comes knocking at his door and he's like, my mom needs to go to a mental health facility because she's like got depression and stuff. You are my next of kin. Will you be my guardian until she gets better? and that is a whole thing with the story. But yeah, that's basically what happens. My one gripe with this is I don't understand why Elsie Silver is bootlicking for billionaires so hard. Like, she's trying to convince us that, like, billionaires earn their money from working hard. Why? Why? I would respect Ford a lot more without that bullshit pandering. I'm being so serious. I don't understand why it was here. I don't understand why she wrote that. For the record, like, billionaires don't get rich because they work hard. They get rich because they exploit someone. Someone somewhere is being exploited. Okay, don't even, let me not start. Let me not start. And the other thing that I was wondering about is why Rosie did not immediately get into contact with a labor law lawyer and discuss her legal rights and legal abilities to, like, take her old boss to court. I don't know why she didn't do that. Like, granted, it might be difficult if she, like, doesn't have, like, a paper trail documenting what happened. I understand that. But I'm sure that there was some more recourse that could have been taken instead of just, like, leaving immediately. I don't know. That was my personal opinion. And then the last one was Old Flames and New Fortunes. I was a little hesitant about this one because I tried reading her, like, Sarah Hogle's Christmas special, but I tried reading, I think it was called, like, Santa Baby or something like that, and I wasn't really into it. Like, I did DNF that one and just, like, gave it up. Thought maybe I'd pick it up at, like, a different time because I really wasn't feeling the mood and the vibe of it when I did get it from the library. But I really enjoyed her other book, Twice Shy, and so I was like, okay, my girl can't fail me again. Like, she has a proven track record of entertaining me more times than she has of disappointing me. So I'll give this a shot, and I ended up really loving it. The best way that I can describe this book is if you took Practical Magic and Nora Ephron films and, like, combined them into one. It's the best description of what this book feels like. This book follows Romina and her sister, and her niece, and the guy who owns their business named Trevor. And basically, Romina is a fortuna florist. So what that means is that she uses flowers to help people's wishes and desires come true, or, like, lead them down the path of achieving what they want. What ends up happening is that her and her sister and Trevor, they need a business loan to do some renovations at their witch store, and all the banks have declined to give them that loan. So their last hope is Trevor's dad, who is a rich and wealthy businessman. And as it turns out, Trevor's dad is in town, and they get so excited to present him with their little business plan. And so when Romina and Trevor go together, because her sister is, like, doing something, I don't know, there's a reason why her sister can't be there that I can't remember right now. But anyway, Trevor and Romina go to the restaurant to talk to Trevor's dad and convince him to give them money. And one of Trevor's cousins walks by and taunts him about being, like, a bad boyfriend. And Trevor, in an attempt to stick it to his cousin, or was it Romina who whatever. I can't remember who instigated, if it was, like, Romina or Trevor, but basically, in an attempt to stick it to Trevor's cousin, they're like, yeah, we're dating. We're in a committed relationship. What about it? What about it? And then they find out that Trevor's dad is actually there because he's getting married. But who is he getting married to? He's getting married to the mom of Romina's ex-boyfriend. And not just her ex-boyfriend, her first love that she's never been able to get over. And they run into him at that same restaurant, and he's, like, mesmerized by her. And Romina's like, oh my god, I'm not over him, and she hates herself for it. And then he finds out that Trevor and Romina are dating. And when I tell you, this man is, like, feral and unhinged when it comes to this girl. Like, he sets off on a mission because he's suspicious. He's suspicious of the relationship. He's like, you guys are not dating. You guys are not dating. He sets off on a mission to prove that Romina and Trevor are not dating. And he's right, but he does end up getting his feelings hurt along the way. But it was really fun. It was really cute. I did have a little moment of like bursting out into some giggles because there was like some funny moments here and there. Because of course there were. Sarah Hogle, my girl, you will never disappoint me. Okay? Whatever you write, I will read it. Okay? I am waiting for your next book. Hurry up and write it. But yeah, I really like this. I read this until the very last page. It was a lot of fun. I love a good jealous lover in a book. I love it. I don't know why. It's probably my favorite thing to read, but I love to see it, okay? So that was the third book that I read. I mean, I don't know if I would recommend Wild Love by Elsie Silver, but like if you're underwhelmed by it, I mean, I told you so. I told you so. But I would definitely recommend You Deserve Each Other. And I would recommend Old Flames and New Fortunes, the third book. So thanks for joining me for that. God knows when I will post again, but stay tuned.